Okay. So I opened this up to my sidelines, my upline, some ladies that I've connected with as a triple diamond. And so this call is really going to be about vision casting. So I want to first start by opening in prayer, and then we'll get right into it. So, dear God, thank you for bringing all of these women and men together tonight to talk about vision casting, talk about their future, talk about where they're going and living an abundant life, honoring you and honoring the purpose that you have designed for their lives. Help them to be open to hearing your words and what I have to share tonight, and let that help them to understand the abundant life that you have designed specifically for them. In your name we pray. Amen. Okay. So, I really want you guys to let your imagination run wild with this. Like, there's no limit. There's no glass ceiling. Like, I really want you to dream big when we're talking about these different things. And the way I'm going to start this is very elementary. So it doesn't matter if you've been in this business for a few days, a few months, or even a few years, or, a decade. It doesn't matter. I really just want to talk through how this business and how vision casting has helped me throughout my business, and where I've kind of hit roadblocks and how to get through those roadblocks and that sort of a thing. So, I want you to think, if you're brand new, why did you start? If you're not brand new, this is kind of multidimensional. So maybe you want to think about and write down like why you initially started, what that initial goal was, what that initial why was, because I think it's very normal for our whys to evolve and change as our business evolves and changes. But where you are, why you got started, what amount was that? So write that down really quick. Let's just take a minute to do that. And then if you've achieved that initial goal of why you started, will you drop a 1 in the chat? And if you are new and you haven't hit your initial goal of why you started your business, drop a 2 in the chat, just so I kind of know like who all's here. Okay, seeing lots of 1s, some 2s. Okay, awesome. Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys why I started, and then we can kind of go from there. So initially I started for an extra $500 a month, and I didn't have a vision. I just wanted to pay off $1,000 in debt. But that $1,000 in debt was my focus. And so for me, it was going Ruby. Okay. And that was my initial goal. That's all I was focused on those first 2 months. That was my vision. That's what I saw. At the time, there was a Ruby bonus. So I was like, okay, what can we do for that? So the initial question was, why did you start? What was your first initial goal in the business? So maybe it was an extra $500 a month. Maybe it was $1,000 a month. Maybe you're brand new and you haven't hit that initial goal, whether it's 1,000, 100, 500, 1,000, doesn't matter. But you need to write that down. So what's really, really important, that kind of a roadblock that I hit when I look back on my business, was those first couple of months, I was laser focused on going Ruby, right? And after that, it took me another 4 months to go diamond. And I think there were a couple months there where I wanted and thought I needed. And let's talk about like need versus want. You can tell me you need something all day long. All day long, you can tell me you need something. I need an extra $1,000. I need to pay off. This credit card. I need to do this, that, or the other. But what are you going to make happen? Need is kind of a word that I put in a category with like try, I'm hoping, like those words aren't speaking life over what you want to do. So I want you to, when you're talking about things, talk about what you are doing, what you're going to do, not what you need to do. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. So I wanted, and I felt like I needed to be home after that part-time because I was getting my master's degree and I was working full-time. So I was working towards Diamond, and I feel like it took me a couple of months for me to get my vision straight. Because soon doing the math, I realized like, okay, if I went Diamond, I could go part-time at my job. And so that was my next big step, right? In my vision casting. And so 4 months later, I went Diamond. And so what I really want to talk to you guys about is how important vision casting is throughout your business and how important it is to revisit this truly every month. How to break it down and break down those goals each month for that vision in order to help you reach that. So the reason that I wanted to do this call tonight is because last year, it was actually in September when I really started doing this last year for my last promotion to Triple Diamond. But it's a new season. School is starting for a lot of kids. We're getting into fall. It's a good time to reevaluate your goals for the year. I think so often people think that people only promote at the beginning of the year. Like, oh, and if you haven't been in the business for a while, like you're like, what is she talking about? But a lot of people call the beginning of the year like boom season. But if you have good vision and you're casting that vision every single day, all of the time, and you have goals and you have everything written down and you're writing about it every day, it's much more likely to happen much sooner than only in January, February, March, April, May. Okay. So I want you to think, if you haven't achieved your initial goal yet, that's obviously the first goal on your list, but we're going to talk longer term also. So I want you to think about, August. Do you have a goal that you are shooting for in August? And if you do have a goal that you're shooting for in August, drop it in the chat. It doesn't have to be a promotion goal. It could be an enrollment goal. It could be getting a certain rank back. Think about those things. Okay, good. Regaining Ruby, helping 3 new Rubies promote, reclaiming double, hubby back to Diamond, get a new Diamond. Awesome. Okay, so you have these goals for August, but then, and we're halfway through August, right? So we all know that a lot can happen in the last half of the month. So then September, October, November, the next 3 months. A lot of times when I'm vision casting and I'm thinking about goals and plans, I'm thinking about the next 3 months. And so I'm looking at September, October, November, on vision casting and setting goals and what I'm going to make happen, not what I need to happen, not what I'm hoping is going to happen, what I am going to make happen come hell or high water, right? Okay, so typically, once you hit your first goal, then the next goal you need to set it's going to be a little bit bigger. It might make you feel uncomfortable. It might make you push yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit. So maybe it's, initially for me, I wanted to pay off $1,000. Then I wanted to come home part-time. So maybe you don't have any debt. Maybe it's just about traveling more. Maybe it's about helping your spouse. But I can tell you that something that really hit home for me is that an Ambassador Diamond, Ashley Renau, she talked a lot about, she went ambassador, I think, in her first year and a half. And I truly believe, and in listening to her talk on multiple occasions, the reason that she promoted so quickly is she had clear vision. She knew exactly to the dollar amount how much debt they had. She knew what they needed in order to stay home. Like, she had exact dollar amounts of what her goals were, and she wrote them out. And she did that from like day one, from going Ruby, right? And so and she worked all the way until ambassador, full-time as a nurse, night nurse. So you want to look at, okay, the next 3 months, what do I want to achieve? And over the next 3 months, we shouldn't be in our heads thinking, well, you guys just told me your goals for August. We shouldn't be in our heads thinking, well, if I don't hit my goal in August, then in September, I want that to be my goal. Like, what's your goal in August that you set out from the beginning of the, the beginning of the month, or maybe it was the beginning of the summer. And then what are you going to do in September, October, and November? And all of your goals, when we're setting this out and talking about vision, should be pushing yourself a little bit each and every month. Okay. I know that it's hard to push yourself out of your comfort zone and say, okay, I'm going to do this over the next 3 months. And then of course you guys probably know where I'm going with this. Then we're going to talk about 6 months. Then we're going to talk about a year from now. And that's so hard because we think we're going to get stuck or we doubt ourselves, right? And I don't want you to think that self-doubt isn't something that every single one of us experience, because we do, and I do on a daily basis, but that is why my personal development has become so important. But I want you guys to know that, last year in September, I sat down and did all of these things, and I wrote out my goals, and I really vision casted. And last September, I went to the women's conference, which Cindy Pentecost, our CEO's wife, puts on every other year. That's what she's done in years past. So there's not one this year. But that's when I started reading a devotional very regularly. That's when I started journaling every single day. So there are a lot of things that I put into motion last September that has helped me to grow my vision, cast my vision, and really helped me to continue to push to hit my goals and to vision cast, far beyond my comfort zone, if that makes sense. Because I can tell you, let's talk about getting stuck. For those of you that don't know, I went diamond in 6 months, double diamond in 14 months. And so at the double diamond rank, I was at a place where I could leave my nursing career. And I knew that. And at that time, after I went diamond, that was my next goal. Okay. So I went diamond, and my next step was, okay, if I can go double diamond, we would be in a place where we would be comfortable, for me to come home full time. And so I went double diamond in March of 2017. And that was such a big goal and such a big feat for me. And guess what happened? I sat at double diamond for almost 2 years. And the reason that I did that is because I had this big audacious goal, and it felt so huge to be able to leave my nursing career. And I did that. And then I stopped. I got comfortable, and I thought, okay, like, this is good. We're comfortable. We're again living, we were living more comfortably because I was making more than my nursing career, but we had fallen back into like our old patterns in when I started the business. And it's very easy, and you may listen to me and be like, how could you fall back into old patterns? Like, it's easy to get comfortable again. Okay. You set out a goal, you achieve that goal, you set another goal, you achieve it. And then you get comfortable, or you get tired, or however you want to look at it. And you kind of stop vision casting. You stop dreaming, you stop goal setting, because you've gotten to your, goal. And that's something you guys, I didn't start this business to go double diamond. Okay. So I sat at double diamond for almost 2 years. And last fall, I got super serious about my vision casting. I got super serious about my personal development. So setting, those goals. So I want you to write down now, let's talk about the next 3 months. What do you want to do in September, October, November? And maybe you don't feel super comfortable saying like, okay, I want to do, something different in each month. Maybe it's building your volumes. I think it's so important to have volume goals instead of just rank up goals, because we all know, and maybe you don't know if you're fairly new and you're watching this, but with each rank comes more volume, and comes new teammates, and comes new obstacles and new challenges and new devils. So if you are, for example, diamond now, and your next goal is obviously double, but it feels far away, right? I don't want you to feel like, okay, that means in September, I'm going to go double. if you're hardly maintaining diamond, that doesn't make sense, right? So in September, maybe your goal is to get your volumes to, a really strong diamond, and maybe your volumes to like 12 and a half, 13,000. And then maybe your goal in October is to promote to double diamond. But then we don't stop there, okay? So then what would your goal in November be? Your goal in November would maybe be to increase your volumes to, to obviously be maintaining double, but increase your volumes to like a solid 20,000, and so on and so forth. Those specific volume goals are super important to keep in mind so that you can look and track things on a bigger picture and a bigger scale, okay? Because so often when we're just focused on rank, something that Pam Souter said on one of her calls, I can't remember which podcast it was. I think she was just answering questions for people. She talked about how you never lose rank in our company. And what does she mean by that? Could you lose rank and not be maintaining and not be paid by your lifetime rank? Sure. But you're never going to not be your lifetime rank. So if you promote to triple diamond and you never decide to go any further, that is your lifetime rank, okay? Whether you're getting paid as a triple diamond or not, that is your lifetime rank. And so that's what's so important in focusing on not necessarily being like, oh, I need to rebuild, I need to do this, but focusing on that next, you want to get back to whatever rank it is, but you also want to build to that next rank, and so on and so forth. So I see some people talking about their goals in the comments. I love that. So August, September, October, November, next 3 months. It's really important to get specific on the amounts. You guys, this is something I did not do until I was ready to be serious about triple. Okay? I knew I needed to go double to leave my job. I knew that. But I didn't talk a lot about my total. You guys, I have like 3 degrees. I have a lot of student loan debt. I had a credit card that was hovering over me. Like I had all of these things that I knew about in the back of my head as a double diamond that we were slowly picking away at, but I knew I wasn't going to be able to make a serious dent in those. But I didn't get super specific until last fall. And I wrote out how much I owed in student loan debt, how much I owed in credit card debt, trips we wanted to take, different things like that. So important to get crazy specific. And I think that sometimes it's hard because we start initially for a small amount of money, what seems small, right? Because we want it to be achievable, because we're scared of failing, because we're so nervous. And then we have to dream bigger, and we have to think, oh my gosh, do I want to go part-time at my job? Like I've never even thought about that. Or what if we could travel? If you have kids that are in school all summer long, if we could travel, like dreaming big, audacious dreams that you never imagined were possible because you've always lived in this comfort zone, because America and society teaches us to, get a job or go to school and get a job, live paycheck to paycheck, work the 9 to 5 until you retire. Right. And hopefully you have enough money eventually saved up to retire. So what does that look like over the next 3 months? Okay. If you love your job, see, I love that, Kristen. I want to take my husband on 2 to 4 scuba trips per year and pay for all of the kiddos' college tuition. That is amazing. Those are big, stinking goals. Okay. So what does that look like? If you love your job, you don't have to quit your job. There are plenty, you guys, there are triple presidential ambassador diamonds that work this business and work a job. Okay. It doesn't matter what your goals are. It matters that they're important to you. It matters that they make you uncomfortable. Okay. So, so I'm saying 3 months, September, October, November. So then 6 months would be September to February. So that's when we get into conference. Conference is typically at the end of January, beginning of February. We know there's big announcements, big booms, that kind of a thing. So you have to kind of think, what do you want to do in the next 6 months? And that is even bigger, right? Okay, so for me, I'm looking at the next 3 months, and I've got specific goals on when I want to go to presidential and when I want to take my husband's account presidential, because he's a triple diamond as well. And then guess what's on my 6 months? Ambassador. Okay. So, and it's very specific. I'm super specific about how much money I'm going to make per month at each rank. It's not just about me hitting that rank. It's about the amount of money that I'm going to make at each rank. You guys, what's crazy is the more you think about these things, the more they come to fruition. Last fall, and I don't have my dream board in here because my office is kind of we're getting ready to move it out of the nursery. And yes, that's a crib in the background. So I last fall started thinking, and I had told Dustin at one point, our church, we meet in a school right now. And we have been meeting in a school for 2 years, and they've started talking about the capital campaign. And I told Dustin at one point, I said, I want to be able to put at least $10,000 in a year towards the new church. And you guys, when I said that to him, it was something that like God put on my heart and I had thought about a lot, but it was never something I wrote down until the beginning of this year. And then we promoted to triple, and we started tithing that much more. And now I realize that in 2019, we're making that goal happen. And that is something that I literally, it was something I would have never spoken to anyone besides Dustin, because I just didn't think it was possible for me and for us to be like, oh yeah, we're going to give 5 figures to the church in 1 year. Like that, those are goals, and those are things that still make you like uncomfortable saying out loud. Okay. So bigger goals are so important. Bigger goals that feel impossible. Maybe it's to pay off your car. Maybe it's to pay off your house. Maybe, initially it was 2 years ago for us in the church, in relation to the church, it was tithing so much every week because we weren't super consistent with how much we were giving to the church every week. And so we started doing that 2 years ago. And then this year, last year it increased, and then it increased again. And then we're giving on top of that. What are those big audacious goals that you can't even imagine or fathom making happen in this space, like right now? That's what you have to be thinking about for 6 months from now, which sounds, I know how crazy that sounds and how crazy that feels. Okay. Heather said paying her truck off and helping to fund homes for wounded warriors. Yes. Like amazing. Amazing. Okay. So then I think it's even more important to do even a year from now. Last year, and I keep looking up like my dream board's in here, but it's not, because at one point this was my office before, like last year, we put on the dream board, and Courtney's on here. Like we wrote out checks to ourselves from Mark Pentecost and how much we would make by September of 2019. And actually, like I have a letter that I wrote to myself last September that I'm going to read to myself in a couple weeks. So, and what's crazy is that amount that I wrote for myself for Mark Penn, like for me to make in a month, I made in the month of April. Okay. And I didn't think that would even be possible until the month of September of this year. Okay. So all of these things, and speaking life over these things that sound so crazy, are so important, you guys. And it sounds silly. And that's how I felt about journaling too. Like, okay, something that I listened to the other day, if you go to Pam Sauter's podcast, she interviewed Carrie Young. And Carrie Young, and there are a lot of Ambassador Diamonds that talk about journaling. And truly the reason I started journaling last fall was because all of these top leaders talked about how their journaling took them to this rank. Their journaling took them to, this rank. So Carrie Young talks about the power of journaling and how she still journals every single day, how she speaks life over her business, how she thanks God for things that are happening in the future that haven't actually happened. But she talks as if it's present tense. thank you, God, for blessing my business and for us, becoming the first double ambassador team. Like, those are things that she writes in her journal every single day. So, you have to dream so much bigger. And I think is it important to set goals monthly? We do that every month, right? Yes. But it's so important to dream for the next 3 months, the next 6 months, the next 9 months, the next year, so that you can look back and say, what did we accomplish? What did we, what are we still working on? And I don't want you to think that, oh, if I set these big lofty goals for 6 months, 9 months, a year from now, and I don't hit them, like I failed. You guys, I keep failing, but I'm failing forward. Okay. I never thought I would be a triple diamond in this company, ever. I never thought I would make a 5-figure check. Okay. But I spoke life over my business and I kept working at it. And I started journaling and doing devotionals and spending time with God every morning. It makes a huge difference. So you have to revisit and redream all of the time. It's so important to do this at the beginning of the year. I think it's good to do a mid-year check-in. Rachel Hollis has a podcast about that. She did it in June. It's literally titled like mid-year check-in. And then, breaking it down each month is important by volume, by rank, by how many bonuses you want to earn. Like, you have to get laser focused and laser specific, or those things aren't going to happen. Okay. So why do people get stuck? I wanted to talk to you guys about this, and then I'm going to show you guys, an even bigger, like, we're going to talk even longer term. So why do people get stuck? Some people get stuck before they even start. Meaning, like, I'm saying, think about all of those people, all of those potentials that you've talked to about the business, specifically, even about products, really. You've talked to them about the business, talked to them about the products, and they seem super interested. They seem super ready, and then they ghost you. They're getting stuck before they even start. And here's why. They don't have the confidence. They don't have the belief in themselves. And so it's our job. It is our job as distributors, as business owners, as entrepreneurs, to cast that vision for others, to show. That's why we post every day. That's why we message, because one of the things I write down every day is that I inspire thousands to go after their goals and to be the best version of themselves. I write that down every single day. Do I know that for a fact? No. But do I believe that that will happen if I keep doing what I'm doing? Yes, 100%. Okay. So some people get started or get stuck before they even get started. They have to, that's why we talk a lot about, targeting posts at objections people have, like, oh, I don't have the money. Talk about how you came up with the money, those sorts of things. You guys, that is helping people to get unstuck, right? Before they even start. Some people get stuck before they even join. They get crippled with fear. They're so afraid of failing that they would rather just stop before they start, and they'll give you every excuse in the book. I don't have time. Life is crazy. Like, all of those things. How can we best help those people that they've paid the $99? Their confidence just isn't there, or they don't believe in themselves. Maybe it's having that conversation and being like, listen, I know how you feel. I didn't believe in myself either. And this is what I'm doing, or this is how I, fought through that. And then once they hit their first goal, second goal, third goal, people get stuck. I have people coming to me constantly saying, I think it happens a lot when people if they started this business just for $500 a month, they hit Ruby, people get stuck. If they started this business and they were like, yeah, I want to go Ruby, but ultimately my goal is Diamond, a lot of people get stuck at Diamond, double Diamond. I got stuck for almost 2 years, right? Why is that? Because I started in the back of my head for $500 a month because I wanted to pay off that credit card. But in the back of my mind, I knew, okay, if I go double Diamond, I could be home full time. And so when I hit that, I got stuck because I got comfortable, because I replaced my full-time income. It was good, right? I was going to go back to like living the American dream only on my terms. Okay. So how do you help people through that? It's so important to be a vision caster for others and help people to understand this. And I can't tell you how many people come to me and say, I don't know, like, I can't tell you what's different, or I can't tell you what's changed. Like, I know exactly what's changed. They reached their goal, they've gotten comfortable, and we're not vision casting anymore. We're not setting a bigger goal. We're not writing it down anywhere. We're just saying, okay, well, yeah, I want to still make this amount of money, but I really like my job. You guys, that's amazing. Great. But like, there's got to be another goal. There's got to be another trip, like Kristen was saying. There's got to be something else. What's the next step? If you weren't doing this business, what would you be doing? Are you just going to do status quo forever? Or would you be changing something, right? Because in my mind, when I think back to my past career, like I was finishing my master's degree. So what was my goal with that? Okay, it was to make more money, make more of a difference in the world, do something in public health, like eventually become a director. Okay, like those were my big, lofty goals in my nursing career until I found this business and realized like this could be my plan A and I didn't have to have a plan B. Okay. So how do you help people break through those barriers when they're starting their business on your team, when they're stuck 4 or 5 months into the business? Like, how do you help them break through? You help them vision cast. If you're not vision casting yourself, if you're not speaking life over your business and believing in your goals that you're setting for yourself for 3, 6, 9, 12 months from now, 10 years from now, how can you help them? Okay. That's why I see so many people get stuck at all different ranks, at all different levels, but it's because they are not vision casting. They're not setting a big enough, specific enough goal for the next 365 days plus to where they're just stuck. And they're like, well, I'll just hang out here. Like, this is good. Okay. So it's really, really important to reflect on if you feel stuck, why do you feel stuck? Okay. Do you feel stuck because you never imagined you would make this much money in your life anyways? That's me. I never thought I would make 5 figures a month. Are you kidding me? But guess what? So I'm going to start talking about what I do in the mornings. And you guys, if you don't know, I'm a huge Rachel Hollis fan, but I have a 10-year, and I actually reread it tonight. And Rachel Hollis, she sells Start Today journals. You don't really have to buy her Start Today journals to do what she does in the journal, but I like that it's printed for me, and it's just easier. But she has you write a 10-year, what does your life look like in 10 years? And so I read that again tonight, and I probably haven't read it since like the spring. And oh my gosh, you guys, I have some really big goals for me and my family for 10 years from now. And it just really made me think. I was like, okay, how different is what I wrote there to how I'm feeling like right this second? And where did I get lost in my vision casting, and where am I at, and how do I get back to that place to where those are the goals I'm going after. And yes, I break it way down, to 3, 6, 9 months, but how do I get there? My 10-year goal. But what I really like is that in Rachel Hollis's book, so that's part of it. Like you write, what does your life look like 10 years from now? And then every day you're writing 5 things you're grateful for. And those things change, right? And then you have 10 dreams that you made happen. And so every day I'm writing the same 10 dreams. Every few months they change a little bit because I end up hitting, those goals. But the 10 dreams that you made happen, you're speaking in present tense. Like, I am this, I am that, we are this, we are that. And then the last one is the goal I'm going to achieve first. So for example, at the beginning of the year, I was writing, 5 different things I was grateful for every day. So that varied from, it could be something as simple as my health, you know, sunshine, it doesn't matter, whatever you're grateful for that day. And then the 10 things, the 10 dreams you made happen, you write those down. And then the goal I'm going to achieve first. So in January, the goal I was going to achieve first was promoting to Triple Diamond, because by me promoting to Triple Diamond, so many of my dreams were coming true as well out of that top 10 list. Okay. So I love this journal. I know that Denise Walsh also has a Dreamcast journal that I've heard really great things about that people love. I think so much of journaling and just the day-to-day is that you're doing it every single day. Okay. The Start Today journal, you can listen to her podcast and do it yourself, or you can, you know, buy her journal like I do. And then devotional is something I like because I can read it every day. And there's typically scriptures associated that I can go and open the Bible and read those scriptures, like surrounding that, you know, surrounding that passage. And then just, I say journaling, like the Start Today journal is pretty specific. So then I also like to just journal in a notebook in addition to that. And my journaling, I think so often people think that journaling needs to look a certain way or flow a certain way. Yeah, it is on her website, Hollis Court. Journaling is not something that anyone else is going to read unless you like read it to them, right? So it's yours. For me, the best way to describe it is like my journal is like letters to God every single day. Like, what am I thankful for? What am I doing? That sort of a thing. I think that so often, you know, growing up, I feel like I was taught that you prayed for other people and, you know, general things is the way I feel like I was taught, or that was my interpretation as a kid of how I was supposed to pray and what I was supposed to do, and that my prayers shouldn't be selfish. And I felt like if I was praying for something specific for myself, that was selfish. Okay. And that's just how I feel like that was my interpretation as a kid. It wasn't until, you know, several years ago, I was like, oh my gosh, like you can pray for everything. You can pray for anything and everything and all of your hopes and dreams and all of your desires and for all of those other things. Right. So journaling for me is extremely therapeutic. It's extremely helpful. And I know it's helped me grow as a person individually. And helped me grow in my relationship with God. I think people are so scared to like have those conversations with God and have, you know, just be open with like their own thoughts and what they really want. So journaling has been amazing for me. I love it. You don't have to have a pretty journal. It just needs to be something where you can write your thoughts down, right? So buy a notebook. Back to school supplies are going to be on sale really soon. Buy a notebook and journal, you know, as often as you feel like you need to. I think it's really great to do every day. It takes time to form a habit. I think they say 21 days to form a habit, right? So if you don't journal every day, the first 21 days, it's okay. Just keep going. Okay. Something that a book that I really like, and I feel like people struggle with in this business in general, and part of the reason people feel like they get stuck is they feel like they are not qualified or not worthy of making a certain amount of money. I think that's also part of the reason that I got stuck. So Jen Sincero has written a few books. You Are a Badass. Her You Are a Badass at Making Money talks a lot about the guilt and the issue, like, for lack of a better term, like the mommy and daddy issues people have with money. Like, depending on how you were raised, which none of us can control, really makes an impact on how you view, you know, making money, how much money, you know, how money is talked about. Like, all of those things have such a significant impact on your life and your dreaming. Okay. So I really love that book. I think I read it last fall too. So You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. I've heard really great things about Beach Money and I can't remember the author. And then Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. If you guys have not listened to that, that video, Earl Nightingale, it's from the 60s. It's 30 minutes long. You can listen to it on YouTube. I would challenge you to listen to that every day for 30 days. Like to the point where it's like ingrained in your brain. It's so good. Everything he says is so true still today in 2019 as it was in the 60s, and talks about success and what people want and, you know, what it takes to get to your wants and your goals. Not your needs, but your wants. Okay. So I would encourage all of you to vision cast for the next year at minimum. I would encourage all of you to sit down and write a letter to yourself for a year from now and where you want to be and what you're doing. What are you doing a year from now? What does life look like? Be laser specific. Are you, maybe you work full-time now and you want to be home full-time. Maybe you work in a job full-time that you don't love and you just want to be doing something else. What is your dream job? What does your dream a year from now look like? Okay, because we should always be pushing ourselves to grow and to change and to challenge ourselves, right? We don't want to be in the exact same place tomorrow as we are today. We don't want to be in the exact same place 6 months from now as we are today. So a year from now, where do you want to be? What does life look like? And be as specific and detailed as you can. Are you working a different job? Are you working this full time? Do you have another baby? Are you driving a different car? Have you paid off a certain amount of debt? Have you traveled? Are you, paying off your house? What are those things that you're doing a year from now? Like, get laser focused and push yourself. It shouldn't feel safe. None of this vision casting and dreaming bigger should ever feel safe. It should make you uncomfortable. It should be hard to write down. Because if it's not hard to write down, if you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, I got that in the bag in the next 3 months. Like, okay, then you're not dreaming big enough. Okay? I've been chasing presidential since I went triple. So saying that I'm going to go pres in the next 3 months is terrifying, but also an amazing challenge and something that I know I'm 100% capable of. Okay, so write down your goals. If you want to do month by month, break it down. And that's hard. It takes time, you guys. It's not something you can just like sit down and do all at once. And it's something that's going to shift and change. But it should really push you out of your comfort zone. It should make you stretch and make you feel like, oh, like I'm really going to have to work consistently at my business. I'm really going to have to work consistently at whatever. And not to like, you should also, when you're thinking about your goals, I talked a little bit about like giving to the church. Maybe it's, like weekly date nights. Maybe it's doing a devotional with your spouse. Maybe it's like, think about all of the important relationships in your life, your kids, your spouse, your significant other. Maybe you're graduating from college. Like, think about all of those things that are important to you right now. Because we're all in different seasons of life. So make sure that you are, thinking about you and your life over the next year and where you want to be a year from now. And, if you don't have a dream board or I like to call it a vision board, because I think it's more about vision. It's not about dreaming, because a dream is great, but until you put goals with it, it can't become a vision, right? Because dreams, we're taught growing up, are something you think about in your head and you think about at night. But those are just dreams. Without goals, without tangible goals and things that you can sit down and be like, okay, this is what I'm going to do to get myself to that goal, then it's not, it's not possible. Okay. So you have to be laser focused. You have to be super specific. None of us, I know there's no way if you're on this call, none of us want our life to look exactly like it does right now, a year from now. Okay. In no way, shape, or form. Right. So what do you want to do? Where are you going to go? Not what do you need? What are you going to try for? What are you going to make happen? Okay. I would challenge you, like, strangest secret every single day for the next 30 days. It will change your life. He gives you an activity at the end and has you write out, oh my gosh, I'm going to forget what the verse is. Ask and it shall be given to you. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. And I can't remember what Sermon on the Mount. That's what it is. It's from Sermon on the Mount in the Bible. And then on the other side of the note card, and I did this for 30 days, I wrote the verse, and then on the other side I wrote, I'm a presidential diamond leader of a VIP elite top 75 team with It Works Global for 30 days. You guys, I can't, it needs your dreams and your goals, and your vision casting has to be something so laser specific that you wake up excited with a fire in your soul to go after those goals and those visions. Okay. You have to have a fire in your soul. And what helps me every single day with the fire in my soul is my devotional, my journaling, and my Start Today journal. Okay. Those are the things. If I do anything right every single day, those are the 3 things that I do right. Do I have to do income producing activities every day? Heck yeah, I do. That's what, builds my business. But if I start my day that way with my self-development and with truly it's vision casting every day. I'm writing down my dreams every single day. That's what ignites that fire every single morning. Okay. So dream big dreams. Think about a year from now, those goals, those visions. Where do you want to be? I'm probably going to read my letter from last September after this because I just want to read it now and I don't want to wait till September. So does anyone have any questions before we close this up? Heather said hers make her extremely uncomfortable. That's exactly how it should be. Nothing about vision casting should be comfortable. And you guys, I did vision boards. I joined in February of 2016. I did a vision board that December. And there were things in 2017 that I marked off my vision board. There were things, though, in 2017 that are still on my vision board in 2019. But guess what? I got laser specific with them in 2019 because I looked at the things that I achieved in 2017, like going part-time. I'm trying to think. Well, in 2017 is when I also came home full-time. Becoming, being a stay-at-home, work-from-home mom, and I put fall 2017. But now I put, dates. I don't just say, a season. I say, so if you have a specific rank or you want to be home or you want to have $10,000 in savings or whatever, put a date by that. Don't just say, oh, in 2020, early 2020, I hope to have $20,000 in savings. No, put a date. Put a date. You guys, I don't achieve every single thing by the date on my vision board, but I edit my vision board. I update it. Okay. I updated my vision board in July. Okay. I was supposed to go presidential this spring. I didn't. Okay. So now there's a date for the fall. It's okay to set vision, set goals, and then have to adjust. Okay. It's okay to do that. The most important thing is that you're revisiting these visions and revisiting these goals down the line. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? I thought this would be a good time for us to do this because it's a new season. We're heading into fall. I saw a meme on Facebook the other day that talked about like for anyone that needs to know, that it was like people saying like, I'm so sad that summer's over. And then it was a picture of someone walking around with a pumpkin on their head. Like, this is me. And I'm like, yes, like I'm so excited and ready for fall and sick of the hot weather. So it's a new season. It doesn't matter what you have or have not achieved. It really doesn't. Up until this point, that's great. But where are you going? Okay? Like, get laser focused on where you're going. Don't get caught up on what you have or haven't done, because none of us have arrived, right? We don't arrive until we go to heaven and meet Jesus, right? So, like, that's where do you want to be at that point? You know, do you want to be a good and faithful servant that God says, way to go? Like, set your goals big, you guys. What do you want to do in life? Okay. Think about the next year, write yourself a letter. I would love, like, if you want to send me pictures of your vision boards or your list or whatever, like, I love that. And I love seeing vision boards. Like, it's my favorite. Okay. One of my favorite things that we do in this company is dream bigger and talk about vision and talk about goals, because no other industry, no other profession does this. Okay. Thank you guys so much for jumping on. I'm going to stop